inbound. Safe zone relocation.
Hello viewers, and today I've got another loadout video for you, and as you can see I'm using the Groza assault rifle from the Cold War series of weapons, and I can't really decide if this Groza is a meta or off meta weapon. I think it's probably somewhere in between, as it can be absolutely lethal in some situations, and in others I personally find it quite difficult. But before I break down these attachments for you and show you some awesome gameplay that I've got with this Groza, it would be amazing if you could consider subscribing to the channel. I'm working my way and I'm getting really close now to 700 subscribers, and if you like these sort of videos where I look at different or maybe interesting combinations of attachments on fairly unused guns, then it would be awesome if you could subscribe and leave a like on this video so I know that you enjoy this type of content. But anyway, let's get on to the attachments. If you don't fancy listening to all of these specific statistics for this weapon, then feel free to pause the video here, as these are the attachments that I am using. And so, starting off in the muzzle attachment slot, I am using the suppressor. The reason I'm using the suppressor is for two reasons. One is because I don't have the agency suppressor unlocked yet, because I haven't really used the Groza all that much. But also, I think I probably would stick with the suppressor over the agency or GRU suppressor or whatever it is going to be called. And that's simply because I actually found the Groza to be quite a light or manoeuvrable assault rifle, and the suppressor definitely leans into those sorts of advantages, whereas the agency / GRU suppressor will sort of slow down aiming stability and aim down sight speed and stuff like that, and it sort of is going to hinder the natural strengths of the Groza. But anyway, this suppressor, although it will reduce damage range by 15%, we gain an 8 millisecond boost to aim down sight time, a 17 millisecond boost to sprint to fire time, and tactical sprint to fire time is increased the most by 21 milliseconds. Bullet velocity is increased by 10%, meaning that once we've got all of the other attachments on the weapon and we've got that beam-like effectiveness, we won't have to lead our targets quite so much, which can be very handy with a weapon like this. In the barrel attachment slot, I am making the most of the new update to some of the barrels on the assault rifles, and the 16.7 inch VDV reinforced barrel does provide a host of pros, but also, as you can see, a host of cons. It will increase damage range by 18%, and vertical and horizontal recoil will both be reduced by 7%, and we get another boost to bullet velocity at 25%. This will truly make it into a much more effective and potentially versatile assault rifle that we can use in Warzone. But we do lose a little bit of aim down sight speed at 8 milliseconds. This is essentially counteracting the time that we gained from the lighter suppressor. And we also lose a little bit of aim down sight movement speed at a minus 10%. This can be a little bit annoying, but instead I thought, as you can see, I do have a magnified scope on the top. Maybe, even though it's a light assault rifle, I can make it better for those medium range engagements, and therefore I don't have to rely so much on that manoeuvrability if we lose some with some of the attachments. And hipfire area is reduced by 25% as well, but we do have a secondary weapon should we need to hipfire for that anyway. As I've mentioned the magnified scope now, I thought I'd move on to it straight away. I am using the Axial Arms 3x scope in the OPTIC attachment slot. Of course, it does say it's a 3x, but according to True Game data, after you sort of measure the pixels of what it reveals when your character looks through the scope, it's more of a 2.7x zoom, but that is completely fine with me because I think 3x is probably a little bit too high for a weapon like this, but the 2x doesn't have the updated view, unlike the 3x, 4x and SUSTAT, which hopefully you know what I'm talking about. This will massively aid us for those medium to potentially long range engagements. Something I have found with the Groza is that whilst the horizontal bounce isn't necessarily all that bad, it's actually the vertical recoil which really kicks within the first 2 to 3 bullets of pulling the trigger for that full auto fire. And so for those further away shots with that iron sight, even though it's a great little clear needle sight, I sort of lose sight of the enemy that little bit, and so I thought I'd stick a sight on there, zoom it in a bit, and I can be much more confident at trying to beam the enemy at long range. Interestingly, in the gameplay that I've got for you, you will probably see both iron sight gameplay and also the axial arms gameplay. In the case that I'm using an iron sight, I've probably stuck on a stock to speed up that aim down sight movement speed, because as I mentioned, we lost it in the VDV barrel that we have on. In the underbarrel attachment slot, I wanted to reduce that vertical recoil as much as possible, and that is why I'm using the Spetsnaz speed grip, which will provide a 7% reduction to vertical recoil, which I personally think is desperately needed. And we also gain a huge boost to horizontal bounce control, which will reduce that by 15%. Even though I don't think there's hardly any horizontal recoil on this weapon, it's nice to know that it's definitely tightened up that little bit more. And for the final attachment, I wanted plenty of bullets in the magazine, but I didn't want to compromise the weapon too much for its natural lightness and agility, and so I'm going for the 45 round speed mag, so we get a slightly quicker reload. I think it's about 2/3 of a second faster, and we have plenty of bullets in the magazine for those first couple of bullets where I find I'm having to sort of get back on target and start controlling that recoil. I really do think though, if you use this Groza for long enough, you'll be so used to that initial kick during the full auto fire that you will probably become quite used to it, and you'll know and you'll sort of anticipate the recoil that's coming. So you'll probably get a lot more effective with this weapon over time. But let me know down in the comments if you do give this weapon a go, whether you prefer it with this axial arms 3 times, or instead you're using an iron sight with probably something like a KGB stock to boost that aim walking movement speed that we lost from the VDV barrel. But whichever one you use, let me know what you think of it nonetheless down in the comments. But anyway, leave a like if you enjoy the video and subscribe if you would like to see more. Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the gameplay.
What's that spot? Outside enemy. What's that spot?
Quite spread out.
Get your shit together.
There was a guy on the right, so I'm going to get this guy up and see if I can cover the flank. Got him, there we go. I knew he'd come up here.
Eyes on target. Have eyes on. Lighting Molotov.
Oh no. Oh, I destroyed my claymore.
New safe zone located.
We're pretty much stuck in here now. I'm going to have to go up here before the circle moves.
Gas is closing in.
I'm not great with this gun.
Enemy UAV.
He's nearly dead.
Enemy cluster strike incoming. Take cover. What's remaining? Keep it up.
Kill.
We've got gas inbound. Safe zone relocated. Gas is closing in.
Oh, this is going to be tricky.
Hostile removed.
5 targets remain. Let's get it.
I'm under fire.
Fire and move, I think. Fire and move. A little bit of damage, a little bit of pressure. Oh no. Oh, we're both down.
You're the last one of your team. Finish the job.
Okay, so it's 2 versus 1.
Got gas inbound. Safe
They
zone
know where I am because they've downed me.
got gas moving.
Probably know exactly where I am.
Better.
Enemy UAV overhead.
Oh damn. He slid into the room, I couldn't track him.
Still standing. Let's come back and win
Oh
this.
well. And a heartbeat. go, got him.
Throwing frag grenade.
I need to get... I've been playing Cold War and the grenade throws are different.
There's an enemy team hunting you.
Hostile maneuvering.
We nearly got him.
Got movement. Gas is inbound.
Oh, sniper.
Hostile dropping into
better
the
of my
area.
teammate.
Watch the sky.
Get up and back on tack.
I thought I could hear someone then. There's another one. I doubt he's got a self-res this late in the game. Got him.
Frag out.
Should have...
Want to get back in the
Yeah,
fight?
cover me, cover me. Oh. Rid of him.
Base station
Enemy
marked.
UAV overhead.
Hang on. There's people here. There's no... Stop spamming. If he concentrated on the enemies, he wouldn't be dead now. Instead, he wanted to spam money.
Head down.
I'm under
It's your
fire.
own fault. Oh, damn. I reckon we had a good chance of winning that one, but they had to be annoying, didn't they? He's down.
Rounds incoming.
Oh, I sort of hesitated then because I saw my bullets were low. Gonna have to use this Magnum now. I honestly have no idea what this Magnum's gonna be like.
Finish the mission.
Take that.
I'm really surprised by how quickly he downed him then. I lost sight of him then a little bit with the full auto fire. I'm wondering if I should maybe put a scope on this gun. Oh, God's sake.
Objective failed. Got a handgun. Marking you safe
I
zone.
think I prefer it with the scope because I would never have hit those shots, iron sights. There we go. Oh, they're really close. Cook a grenade, throw it at the floor, run. Ah, damn. Okay, I sort of did down myself, but I did break his armour. Got a bit of cover here. I'm just going to crawl around the corner. I think they're all they've either run away or they're dead. Oh, I hit both of them. Oh, I should have just focused on one.
Designating target for airstrike.
Oh, that laser's completely missed where I pointed it. Should mask my footsteps though.
Gas is inbound. Marking
Target
you
appears
safe zone.
Damn. Come on, teammates.
Less than 5 to go. 3 over the win.
3 teammates with me and they were all just hanging back. Oh well. Definitely prefer it with that scope though. All 3 teammates still alive. 3 versus 1. And we got the win. Oh, I got the win, but I would have liked to have used that Groza for a bit longer with that 3 times.